Good afternoon, gentlemen. This is the test backplane for the PDP-11 stuff. It's populated with everything that will eventually go into the actual H11 just to make sure that nothing causes anything else to let the magic smoke out. Here's the PDP-1173 CPU, the B revision that supports a floating point unit, although I don't have the actual FPU chip installed on it. Here is a 2 megabyte RAM card. Here is a 2 megabyte RAM card that is only populated with 1 megabyte so far, but it appears to take regular old 41-256 DRAMs, so I ordered 50 of them. It takes 36, but it was cheaper to just buy 2 lots of 25. So I'm going to have some extras of those, so I'll be able to get a whole 4 megabytes out of that. Here's our Ethernet card, which we still need to make a cable for it to break out to an AUI connector. Here is the Heathkit serial card, which is the only serial card that I've got another Heathkit serial card that doesn't work, and I've got a digital card that doesn't work. The digital card, it's an older card, but it has a UART on it that is actually capable of 38.4 kilobaud, even though the card itself isn't capable of that, which makes me think that I think that UART is pin compatible with the one that's in this Heath card. So I'm kind of thinking I might be able to swap the UARTs and then change the serial port clock multiplier on this Heathkit card to get it running faster than 9600 baud, but that's a project for some other time. I digress. Here's the Emulex UC7 SCSI controller, which has no drive hooked up to it yet. It'll have a SCSI to SD attached to it, broken out to an external SD card port that we can swap operating systems around with. And then of course there's the Cubone that I put some extra handles on, even though it's still impossible to get out of the backplane without prying it out with a screwdriver from the bottom. It's very tight. I think the connectors are a little too wide. I might have to take a file to it or something. Maybe it'll insert and remove better than. Anyway, it's emulating a disk drive right now. You can see the disk drive activity LED, the fake LED, underneath of this tape here, next to the green one. It's oh, it quit. But it's let me switch to the other camera. There we go. It's trying to boot 211 BSD right now. As you can see, my backspace isn't working, and this keyboard repeats Y's sometimes, which makes it a little difficult to make shit work here. And it doesn't seem to unmount the root file system properly when you shut the machine down either. So the file system's always dirty every time you boot, which is a little bit funny. So let's see if it'll actually boot all the way up now that the file system check completed. Okay, so it gets down here. It does a type 0 trap, which I assume means that the kernel has halted the CPU. So the file system should be unmounted now, right? So let's go over here to the Cubone. We'll do a power cycle. That should put us back into the ODT console. Okay, very good. Now we'll restart this script that starts up 211 BSD on an emulated disk drive, and I have the memory emulation disabled on here, so it's only going to use the 3 megabytes that are actually installed in here, because the Cubone is way too far away from the CPU to emulate RAM reliably, I think. And 3 megabytes is more than enough for 211 BSD. Anyway, so let's fire this up and see what happens. Alright, so let's run the bootloader from the ODT console. It runs the Unix chain loader. We just hit enter there. And then it should boot Unix, we hope, if the file system is still not dirty. Not still dirty. I can't talk. Maybe I'm insane. Am I insane, Mr. Beefy? Am I insane, Mr. Beefy? Yes, yes I am, he says. That's the cat, if this is the first video you've ever seen here. Here, I will let you see Mr. Beefy while this boots. Well, actually, it's actually doing stuff now, so let's not. One big problem I had was that the terminal software needed to be set to 7E1 instead of 8N1. That fucked me up for a long time. I kept getting garbage, and I was like, what? Because I figured it would just, you know, go with whatever the serial card was set to. But such was not the case. Well, it's not complaining about a dirty file system now, at least. It boots slightly faster than Slackware 12 on the ProLinear 486 does, but not much faster. It takes a little bit. This is the first time I've tried to boot it with the network card actually installed, so it'll be interesting to see what it does. It's still set to the networking defaults that were on this disk image to begin with. I haven't tried to change the host name or anything, so it's gonna say that it's a PDP-11 53, but it's not. That's just what the host name's set to. Ah, come on, old buddy. You can do it. Here, you can look at Mr. Beefy while it times out with the networking stuff. Because everyone loves Mr. Beefy, right? Oh, hello, Mr. Beefy. Do you like PDP-11s too? You can't chew on this one. You can lick my fingers, but don't lick the PDP-11. Solder not good for a kitty cat. He is a licker and a biter. Well, it's trying harder to initialize networking than it was now, so that's something. But it's not just failing, since there's a network card now. So taking a little bit longer. The LEDs on the network card are still the same. There's no hard drive activity. I assume that inetd is failing or something, and it's just going to take a little bit to time out or something. Well, no, it hasn't tried to start any daemons yet, so it can't be inetd, unless it's trying to make a DHCP request. No, there it goes. So that contraption that we made a few videos ago to generate the DCOK and POK signals from the power supply, I ended up disconnecting that. It's still tie wired to the side of the backplane, but I've just been emulating those signals with the Cubone, and I'm also generating the line time clock with the Cubone, which is required to boot both RSX11 and 211 BSD. It uses that LTC interrupt to do task switching. It won't even boot without it. You can boot to single user mode, but to multi-user mode fucks up apparently. It freezes up as soon as you hit Control D up here, if you don't have the line time clock enabled, according to my recollection. Maybe I'm full of shit. Anyway, so yeah, the H11 actually supplies the line time clock from the power supply, like most PDP-11s do, so that shouldn't be any issue. And it actually has like a run halt switch on the front panel too, so everything ought to be fine in the H11. I'll use the Cubone to emulate a floppy, or a tape drive, I should say, in order to install operating systems on it to begin with. And then we'll take the Cubone out, and it'll be like a real PDP-11 with nothing emulated, and then we'll put it back in this test backplane and get a second machine working with all the leftover parts, because I've got an extra Ethernet card now, and I've got that SASI controller that I can put another SCSI to SD on, even though it'll be kind of more of a pain in the ass to use. I think we can probably set up a nice little like RT11 machine with it. It'll be fun. Anyway, there it is. Unix 211 BSD Unix running on what will eventually become the innards of the H11. So it doesn't look like the magic smoke's coming out. Some of the stuff on this CPU card gets really hot. I mean, the other one gets hot too, but they both get pretty hot. I stuck these Raspberry Pi heat sinks on these two PLCC chips that get super hot. I don't know. I guess in a regular enclosure there'd be a fan blowing through these cards all the time, but these things are all really close together. And some of the stuff on this CPU card especially get awfully hot. It can't be good for the silicon for it to get that hot. I don't know what the deal is with that, but anyway, I hope nothing's wrong. I guess we'll see if it still gets just as hot when it's in the H11 chassis. Alright, that's probably it for this weekend. I'm going to go play Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead for the rest of the day, which is still a great game despite the community surrounding it being like super toxic. I actually got thrown off of their Discord server for daring to suggest that perhaps a Discord server that was supposed to be about Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead should be about Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead and not about Marxist politics, but apparently that was misogyny, and oh well. C'est la vie. It's still a great game, even if the people that make it are dumbasses. I wouldn't give them any money, but it doesn't cost anything, so open source and all that, so I don't feel bad about still enjoying it. Alright, time to slack, Mr. Beefy. Let us engage in our post-apocalyptic computing game thing. Shall we, old buddy? Alright, cool. See you later, everyone. This is very exciting. Progress has been made.